Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the podcast Strikes Back. My name is George and you're listening to our weekly show Top 8. We break down this week's biggest stories in the world of movies. And joining me today, as usual, the TPSB crew, Connor and Benny.
Good morning.
What a week, guys. Busy as always. But before we get into the news, a little bit about what we've been watching this week, and I always hand it over to you guys, so I'm going to take the reins this time.
Well, we didn't discuss this. I don't like this.
I chucked on last night, actually, Project Almanac, which was Dean Israelite, who did Power Rangers, the one that came out this year, his first feature.
Is that a Bay production?
Yeah, Platinum Dunes.
Yeah.
Fun little found footage movie. Kind of like a combination between Chronicle and The Butterfly Effect, because it's got a time travel aspect to it. And I thought it was great. He's really good at getting a young cast together who have a good sort of relationship, on-screen chemistry kind of thing, which he also really nailed in Power Rangers. And I recommend it. I think it's a fun little sci-fi. I really enjoyed it. How about you guys? What have you guys been watching?
I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 again, with a slightly clearer head this time.
Nice.
Enjoyed it again. Probably cooled on it, maybe a little bit even. I chucked it into my rankings of all the Marvel movies. It actually ended up quite low.
Okay.
Maybe that'll change with time and repeat viewings, but at the moment, it was just another Guardians movie.
Yeah. I ended up seeing it as well for a second time this week, and
Connor, can you check your mic? Something sounds wrong there.
I am on a whole new level of hungover right now. Do you know when do you remember that instance where you first got hungover and you're like, oh, this is what it means to be an adult? Like I've you just ascended to a new level of shitstorms after you drink. I feel like that's what this is, except for the next level of hangover.
That's so good.
I eagerly
transcended
await it
to levels that you never knew existed. Well, good luck to you today, man.
Yeah, cheers, bud. Look, I saw it the second time as well. I thought I really cooled on it as well. I think a lot of that, the kind of magic of it is that humor that once that's out the door. So the humor for a second repeat viewing isn't as... It doesn't feel as fresh.
Okay.
Definitely.
Damn. Maybe I'll never watch it ever again.
Yeah, just preserve it.
Not a bad idea.
Talking just quickly about, ranking of Marvel films, they're always kind of in flux for me. I'll rewatch something and I'll connect with it.
I feel like as time goes on, the more you rewatch them, the lower they each get. So the one you haven't seen in the longest is at the top.
Yeah.
And then you rewatch it and be like, oh, that's not cool. I'll put that in the middle somewhere. And then you'll revisit another one. But
anyway, let's get into the news of the week.
I don't need to say what I've done. That's fine.
No one cares.
Oh.
No one wants to hear your voice anymore.
I thought you saw Guardians.
Oh, yeah, I was just commenting on his.
Oh, okay,
I did see it.
Oh, so you hijacked mine and then you expect to get your own as well, huh? I watched Louis C.K. last week. That's what I did. It was awesome. What did you watch, Connor?
I watched a 3-minute Louis C.K. YouTube video.
It's my life now, just a series of 3-minute videos.
But yeah, so what you
Yeah, no, I watched his new stand-up on Netflix. Netflix seems to be getting some heavy hitters as far as stand-up comedy. They're producing a lot of original content.
That's dark, that one.
Oh my God, right?
It starts out, I'm
I
like,
love
holy
it.
crap, man. He's like lingering on these topics for like 10, 15 minutes. And I'm like, dude, this is getting awkward as.
I loved it. I thought it was like, if this is where he's starting, I'm so in.
Yeah.
All right, now
can we get to
give us
you
permission to
now?
now move on.
All right, let's get into it. I'm so excited.
What a huge week for news.
Yeah, another stellar week. All right, first on our list, we've got some confirmed release dates. So Star Wars Episode 9 is going to be released May 24th, 2019. And Indiana Jones 5 will be released July 10th, 2020.
So it's interesting that they are moving an episode film from a December release date to a May release date.
Yes.
Is it going to be May 4th?
Yes, it is.
Don't you think?
No,
I thought they
May
owned that period.
Yeah,
and
totally.
like Rogue One has killed it. Force Awakens has killed it. Why move it from that spot? Han Solo is coming out in May next year, but that kind of makes sense because it's a spin-off film. Like, why change a recipe that's obviously working?
Otherwise, you'd be going, a year and a half without Star Wars movie?
Yeah, because they haven't announced.
I guess
anything in between,
if they can make it that quick, they may as well just get it out there.
Pump it out, yeah. I see no reason why not. Do we really need an Indiana Jones 5?
Yes, we do. The world needs more Indiana Jones. No, of course we don't. Jesus Christ.
You know what? No, I don't even want to see a good one. I love the little trilogy, and I think like
I'm not that into it, eh?
Really?
I didn't grow up with it. Caught it a bit later, and then I was just like, oh yeah,
yeah.
fine.
I think a huge part of it is nostalgia. I went back and rewatched the series within the last year, the 1 to 3, and yeah, I just enjoyed it in terms of a fun film. I mean, like it's not masterpiece. It's not a masterpiece. It's it's a fun little action film. Indiana Jones going around, saving the world. Fuck, yeah, what do you want from me?
What do you want from me? Holy crap!
Yeah. So and I mean, I think
strap yourself in, guys. It's gonna be a good episode.
I think everyone collectively hated 4.
Yeah.
Like no one here liked it, right?
I'm in the same camp as you, Benny. I didn't grow up on Indiana Jones like I grew up on Star Wars, and I really
You can do both, by the way.
I don't know.
No, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
He's either Han Solo or Indiana Jones. There is no crossover.
Here you can do both. He grew up in the UK. It's very strict about that over there.
And yeah, I've never really connected with them as much as some people. They really Indiana Jones is heralded as one of the greatest sort of action franchises,
and Raiders in particular. And it always bothers me watching that one. And I hate picking on plot logic and stuff because that's just a wank. But in Raiders, the movie would happen exactly as it does if Indiana Jones just wasn't there and didn't do anything. Because it's basically just a bunch of Nazis steal the Ark of the Covenant and kill themselves. And that would have happened regardless.
But I mean, that seems to be like half the action films out there. They don't actually, or any films that they're the ones that get the world in trouble and then have to fix it. And like, if you had just done nothing.
But that's different. That can be an interesting arc of redemption. This one's just like he's just following them or running away from them, and then they all die. It's fine. It would have happened that way.
Thanks for ruining Raiders for me.
Yeah,
I like the first one. I don't really like the second one, Temple of Doom, and I really like the third one with Sean Connery. There's some fun dynamics between those guys.
Nonetheless, I don't see any way that they can make another installment of this franchise that's going to please people unless they do some kind of radical departure. And I hate name checking Logan all the time, but just something different, like kind of a different, because he's an
like
old man
an old
now.
Indiana Jones that's grittier and
No, not like that, but just stylistically, it can't be the same as those old movies.
Well, people always try and chase that magic of what we had back in the 90s.
And you're not going to get it with 100-year-old bloody Harrison Ford who just hates everyone.
There's just the ingredients aren't there for that kind of film.
Now, maybe if they bring Shia LaBeouf back, we could be onto something here.
I was going to say, percentage chance that he's going to come back in this film, even for like a 2-second cameo.
0. It's absolute 0.
It's got to be one of the worst parts of that fourth film.
Maybe they'll have his desk and they'll show the photo of Sean Connery and there'll be a photo of Shia LaBeouf next to him as well.
That's
like,
what I mean.
RIP.
Like anything where you see his face.
Yeah.
Look, one I'm very excited for. Star Wars will be good, obviously.
It's being written by the great Colin Trevorrow.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that real quick because
got distracted by Indiana Jones.
Yeah, get that shit out of here. There was a confirmation by Rian Johnson made that he is not involved in the writing of Episode 9, and at least to my knowledge, I think I'd heard he was doing the story, he was doing the treatment, and also co-writing the actual script.
You got to wonder what that says about the production and his involvement in it. Like,
they do seem to be changing up a lot of the people movie to movie. And I wonder whether that's just scheduling conflicts or if that's because they want each movie to have a bit of a different flavor. We were talking about this with the directors, about the motivations for them switching up director for each film. And I have a feeling that it's half of it has to do with scheduling. Like, I just don't think that they can have one guy pump 3 movies of that size and scale out in that amount of time.
Yeah.
And then the other half would have to be maybe just them wanting to then kind of run with it and say each film is going to be a little bit more kind of its own flavor, of its own style.
I think Star Wars, the original trilogy, had that. You know, it was George Lucas, Irvin Kershner, and the other dude.
The other guy
directed the third one.
So yeah, it's fitting with what's gone before. It makes sense. I'm a little worried about Colin Trevorrow.
Doesn't matter.
Well, it does to me. I want to be accurate. His track record with Jurassic World 1.
Did he write that?
Yes.
Mm.
And I think the dude who co-wrote it with him is writing episode 9.
Mm.
So we'll see.
We could get a Jurassic World caliber Star Wars film.
I would rage. I would rage because I thought Jurassic World, I don't know how that movie did so well.
Crazy.
And got such a great fan reaction because I thought it was so middle of the road.
Yeah. Very average.
Mm.
Anyway, let's move on to number 2.
Number 2.
Should we leave Connor in charge of running the show today?
Yeah.
He's kind of just staring into
I'm a
space.
disaster.
Just keep talking about stars for another 50 minutes.
How'd you get away with that? Oh, yeah, Connor just wasn't paying attention, just kind of
We
fell
can't move
asleep
on
in his
until he
chair.
says. He just didn't say.
We just kept going. All right, on to number 2. Number 2 is Kingsman, the Golden Circle trailer dropped. This is the sequel to the Lightning in a Bottle film. When did the first Kingsman come out?
2015, wasn't it?
15?
Wasn't that long
16,
ago?
15.
It was very early in the year, I remember.
Yeah.
It was,
it was
a really, it was like
February.
non-blockbuster time.
So Matthew Vaughn is returning. We also have some new, as director, sorry. We have some new characters. So Julianne Moore, Channing Tatum, Halle Berry, Elton John, and Jeff Bridges.
Stacked cast.
Yeah.
They didn't just add like 1 or 2 new characters. It's like double the amount of people on screen.
Yeah.
A bunch of people returning from the first one, including Colin Firth, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
So I do
Spoiler
want to talk
alert.
about that.
the
Spoiler alert.
very first teaser poster was showing him returning. That was
I
the
am-
first bit of news we had.
I don't know if I'm around that.
You're around it or you're into it or...
Just not sliding in with that.
I just don't know how I feel about this sequel as a whole. That first one was so cool and it
Yeah.
was so different and just so its own thing. Kind of reminded me of the original Kick-Ass, which,
Yeah.
as we all remember, that had a sequel as well, and that was one of the worst things I've ever seen in a cinema.
Yeah. That was a major disappointment.
You're pretty gutted about that one because you really enjoyed the first Kick-Ass.
I did, yeah. It's since fallen a lot in stature, just possibly because of that second one, but
because of the association.
yeah, just shares a family.
But that
name.
was a renegade film at the time. That changed shit up. I
Yeah.
remember when Kick-Ass came out, nothing had really ever come out like that before.
Yeah, but on the plus side for Kingsman, at least Matthew Vaughn is returning, which bodes well, I guess.
We'll see with this sequel whether the first one's success was because of that novelty factor, or whether it really just was a well thought out, well executed film.
I feel with Matthew Vaughn, it is kind of a fluke when he does that well,
Yeah.
because some of his stuff is so clumsy and kind of garbage in points. So I feel like when it's that good, he's not entirely in command of it.
Did you guys get a bit of a melancholic vibe from this trailer? It almost felt like the end of a trilogy
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. Like the Kingsman had been, taken down.
It's the dark middle chapter, the empire.
It's the
of
empire
Kingsman.
of
But it sounds like that's gonna happen early on in the film. I'm gonna guess that kind of setup.
Yeah.
And then that seems like the beginning of a third film.
I think
Like,
that's very standard second movie stuff, though.
I don't know. I just got a very melancholic vibe, especially from the track they used.
I think that's always the second movie, though, is like the dark chapter. It's like Spider-Man No More and, the Amazing Spider-Man kills Gwen Stacy.
It's a
and then
very dark chapter.
Avengers 2 are all breaking up or whatever.
But they always start out with like, "Hey, I've defeated the first. I've gone through the first chapter. I'm, figuring
and then
this out."
Then it gets dark real quick.
and then it gets So we'll see.
Connor, please.
All right, let's move on to number 3.
All right, we're gonna move on to number 3. Jeff Goldblum has signed on for Jurassic World 2.
Fuck yes.
There's your redeeming factor there, George, for Jurassic World.
I'm back in, baby. Dr. Ian Malcolm, he's back on the island.
Yeah.
I'm so down with that.
Yeah. I love The Lost World. Everyone hates that movie. I never got it. I saw it when I was 12 or whatever, and I just fucking love it. Ian Malcolm is the best part of that franchise, and I'm so happy he's coming back. Like, I probably would have enjoyed that last movie even if he was just in it throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
like if he was
I
the main
agree.
character, I would have liked it. Like even Independence Day 2, which is hot garbage. I really liked him in it.
Right.
So
He's
I
never the weak part in the film. Like
Hell
I've never watched a film and been like,
He's just
wish
got a-
he wasn't in it.
Yeah, he's just so good on screen, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just seems good everywhere. So he was recently in,
Especially in food trucks.
yeah, he was seen recently in Sydney, like handing out
Yeah.
fucking tacos.
Chef Goldblum.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The first celebrity that's come to Sydney in over
Yeah.
2 years.
You get really excited. Oh
thought
my
they'd
god!
forgotten about us.
First thing that happened since Hugh Jackman went down that abseiling rig or whatever it was.
With Oprah. Yeah, that was the best.
Let's just talk about that for 20 minutes. But yeah, Jeff Goldblum, like, did he didn't save that end of Independence movie though, did he? Like, maybe his
Hell
scenes were
no.
fun.
Hell no, no, no.
So he's weaving his way back into some of the old franchises
Yeah.
he's been associated with, which is interesting.
So is Chris Pratt coming back for this one then?
Yeah,
Yes.
Chris Pratt
Yeah.
and Bryce Dallas Howard are both coming back
As kind of
as
the
his
main
BD
plot
Wong,
drivers.
Yep.
returning as the villain, I guess. I don't know. It's weird.
And Vincent D'Onofrio, he's going to be there, right?
Yeah, we'll come back with like half a face missing. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't really hold out hope for this film. I mean, I'd like it to be good.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed the original Jurassic Park and even Lost World.
I love Jurassic Park, the original. It's probably in my top 3 movies of all time. But so this new one's being directed by Juan Antonio Garcia Bayona.
Yeah, what did he do?
He did The Orphanage, which
That's
surely I'm sure
okay,
you
yeah.
love, George. That's a
I
great
love that. That's a Guillermo
That's
del
a
Toro
hectic film.
produced horror
Yeah.
flick. Incredible.
one. Hell yeah. He also did that Ewan McGregor disaster flick, The Impossible, which I didn't see, but people liked. And that recent one, A Monster Calls.
Was that giant
With
creature?
the big wood monster
and
thing.
Liam Neeson was
the
voicing the
tree
giant
thing.
tree.
Yeah, I
yeah,
believe so,
yeah.
And that got a pretty good reception as well. So I feel like with Jurassic Park as a franchise, you can very easily remold from installment to installment. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be beholden to the last crappy
Well,
movie.
the first 3 are very much like that. They share very little kind of continuity with each other.
Mm.
Um,
Yes, good point.
yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I love dinosaurs. Hopefully they won't, but hopefully they do some practical effects. That'd be nice.
Yeah. I feel like the most recent one was very much a studio directed film.
Yeah, totally.
But they did practical effects with the Brontosaurus in the. Oh, no, sorry, it was a Diplodocus
Yeah,
in Jurassic World. That looked terrible. They dropped the ball on that.
yeah. I thought, for all its weaknesses, the special effects, the CGI dinosaurs actually look fantastic in,
Yeah,
in Jurassic World.
I
like,
agree.
absolute top notch.
It's that scene where Chris Pratt, all the memes came.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
him,
yeah.
hurting the Velociraptor. That looked photorealistic.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about that for a moment? What the fuck?
What? How he
That
his
whole
dinosaurs was
raptor
trans.
thing.
I love that. That was the only saving grace of that movie when he's like riding through the forest with
Yeah.
the Raptor Squad. Fantastic.
I kind of wonder what the thought behind that was.
Weaponized dinosaurs. That was the entire theme of the movie, and that's clearly
Yeah.
where they're going with this franchise.
No, I mean, in terms of like when they're writing it, being like, this seems like a plausible thing.
None of it's plausible. It's
They set it up to be plausible in the film.
yeah. I think it holds together fine.
Well, fuck me then.
Yeah, fuck you. We finally agree on something,
Really-
Connor.
Really good banter there, Ben. Thanks for just killing that right where it stood.
Look,
Oh,
Yeah.
you've made a statement? Fuck you.
I can see you're weak. I'm going for the jugular. I'm gonna kick you while you're down today. Don't take a sip. What's the new story?
All right.
Do you guys want to talk about Jeff Goldblum some more?
I kind of do. All right, number 4. Shane Black's The Predator has been pushed back by 6 months to August.
In 2018.
Yes, in 2018.
So it was coming out in February.
Either that or they really dropped the ball on marketing because I've heard nothing about it coming in August 2017.
So it was supposed to come out in February, and now it's been pushed back by 6 months.
I am so excited for Shane Black's The Predator.
Yeah.
I love Shane Black. I love Predator. That's it. I love the cast of this film. I really enjoyed Predators. I thought that was a really decent stab at the franchise. And if they need another 6 months to make this what it deserves to be, then fucking take it.
I'm always a bit hesitant when that happens. When you hear reshoots or you hear pushing back for 6 months or any of that, it either means that they're committed to doing it right and they're willing to, go back and take their time, which is a really good thing. Or it means that they're really disorganized and
Things
they're
are spiraling out of control.
It sounds like, Suicide Squad or Rogue One or a bunch of these films that could have easily been them fixing it up, but ended up being just,
Yeah, I agree.
shocking.
But I am with you, Benny. One of my favorite films of all time is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Love that
Hell
film.
yeah.
So I am totally behind this. Funnily enough, Shane Black actually appeared in Predator, first Predator. He's the dude with the big glasses.
Yeah.
there you
So
go.
it's cool that he's sort of done this
coming
whole
home.
360 from in front of the camera to behind the camera. And he's a very perceptive guy. You watch something like Iron Man 3 and he brings a totally different angle to the comic book movie as a genre. And with this, I think he's going to bring his Shane Blackisms and give us a really interesting take on the Predator. I wasn't really the biggest fan of Predators. I thought it was a decent stab. Nothing really more than that.
It felt like
Agreed.
Yeah, it felt like an ambitious, or not even an ambitious film, a film that wanted to do something and like kind of went a little bit different, and then just kind of fell a little bit short.
Yeah.
I thought it got there. I thought it was a very, like, they weren't aiming too high. It was just kind of a little B-alien movie with cool practical effects and stuff. Nice to see nowadays.
I really liked Lawrence Fishburne in that.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the best parts of that film.
His head was bigger than I've ever seen anyone's head in the world. It's insane.
That's what you took away from that film?
Yeah, absolutely.
That man has an enormous head.
He's the only guy who could stand up next to a predator and have a bigger head than a fucking predator.
So this film is going to be competing against, in this new August 3rd time slot, the Scarface remake, which is being written by Joel and Ethan Coen.
Oh, God.
That doesn't mean much.
And it's also going up against a film by Warner Brothers called Meg, which stars Jason Statham and is about a massive shark terrorizing anything and everything in its path. So Meg, I'm assuming Megalodon.
Yep, correct.
That should be fun.
Love a good shark film.
Statham knows how to play the field. I think we're all pumped for Predator. We actually sat down and watched Alien vs. Predator this week, which is a bit of fun. So we'll have our retro review up later in the week. Are we calling that retro review or From the Vault? Can we decide this on the air right now?
Yeah, let's.
I feel like you
take
just,
up valuable
you just say
time.
whatever you feel at the time.
Pretty much.
I think that's the way to do it. Good branding.
Retro review sounds good.
I like From the Vault.
From the Vault.
You son of a bitch. So yeah, they've also said that Arnie isn't coming back.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't need him in this.
That'd be just a bit too cute, bringing Arnie back from the first one.
I feel like that's kind of what Arnie's good for now.
A Predator movie's never had a returning character, so why start now?
Yeah.
And I think it was diminishing returns on his return in Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was. But I'll be honest, that was not what that kind of made that film fail for me.
Yeah, no shit.
That was the least of its problems.
It's kind of funny, though, how enthusiastic is he about making Terminator movies. He's recently come out and said that he's going to keep making them forever, and he's going to keep doing it. But
why not?
With this Predator one, he was like, no, I read what they had, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. Shane Black probably had something interesting planned for him. I feel like he would probably have done something cool with him, and it must have annoyed him.
Yeah.
And obviously, George, you'll be really happy about this. He said that there will be practical effects in this film.
I think they've made that pretty abundantly known in the press that they've done so far for this film. Bring it on.
I think we're coming up to a really cool time in film where, there's a bit of a pushback against CG or like just straight up CG, and people are bringing in some more practical effects into it, and then combining it with what is now just top shelf CGI where it's needed.
Disagree, and I think you're crazy. I think we've never been more saturated in computer effects than we are right now.
Oh, I mean, obviously it's everywhere. But I feel as though we're starting to see a bit more practical effects kind of being brought back into film. I mean, you saw it with The Force Awakens. That was such a big marketing aspect of that film was, hey, we're going to go back doing practical effects. We're not going to be doing the CGI fest that the prequels were.
But then you watch the film, and even when there was a practical effect, it was just lathered in CGI.
Yeah, I think that's just in kind of...
It's just marketing for that movie.
I thought they did a pretty good job at
Maz Kanata.
yeah, but every other character in that cantina was practical, and they look fantastic.
There's a certain point where you just have to do CGI in those films. So you're in fucking space.
Okay,
what do you want?
The original ones didn't.
The thing with Maz Kanata is that they didn't have a final design to do. He wanted to do it practically like Yoda in Empire, and they didn't have a final design, and so they said we'll have to postpone it.
But I thought she looked fine. Like
She was ugly as shit. She looked like the especially old lady off the Golden Girls.
she doesn't have to look pretty.
No, she doesn't have to look pretty. I thought she was just really like unappealing, like just kind of gross and weird. Like Yoda's not gross. He's a fun little Muppet.
Yeah.
Anyway, how do we go on like 7 argument tangents every fucking time?
This is great.
It's the same 7 arguments though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
so.
just,
Benny hates Star Wars.
just
we'll leave it at
quickly,
Hey, I'm not far off at this point if they keep making Rogue Ones. Go ahead, Georgie.
just quickly, following up on your statement about
practical effects.
yeah, I think there is kind of like there's those torchbearers like your J.J. Abrams or your Chris Nolans or your Guillermo del Toro's who love doing. Oh, yeah, he got it. Connor's opening the jug of water to serve himself. Holy crap!
Connor, don't relieve yourself on the table.
That's definitely a glass of water and nothing else. But if you watch something like even Guardians of the Galaxy, man, that was all green screen.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was crazy.
That was painted to shit. Like there wasn't a real part of that ego planet.
But at some point, I think because we're talking about films that are set in space and they've got this galactic scale.
Yeah.
How much of that would you even be able to do practical effects for?
You can make a planet. You can shoot on an exterior location.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I didn't mind that they kind of CGI
Yeah,
the shit
no,
out
I
of
don't
that
think
one.
so either. But I think just the fact that it was all green screen and you could tell it was, and every film is oftentimes these days all green screen.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that was one of the big things about the Hobbit series
Yeah,
was that it
exactly.
was completely green screened.
And you could tell it didn't
Yeah,
have that.
oh.
It didn't have that dimension that Lord of the Rings had.
I went back and rewatched the Fellowship of the Ring, and that movie is absolutely stunning as far as practical effects. The how they do the different sizes.
Yeah.
So the
Force perspective.
force perspective. Thank you. That is unparalleled.
In-camera techniques will always win for me.
Oh, stunning. And then you look at The Hobbit with the fucking CG nonsense and depressing.
Yeah. Anyway, we love practicals effects. Yeah.
Except Connor, who loves CGI.
One final thing on practical effects and computer generative effects was I saw this awesome video on the making of our favorite film, Rogue One, with Admiral Raditz, that Mon Calamari dude in his ship. And the whole of the ship is all computer generated. Like they're sitting in on this like white screen and they put in the whole background. It's actually crazy. I didn't pick up on that at all. I thought that was all in camera. You guys should definitely go check it out. We'll put a link in the blog section.
Blows my mind that you can have that Admiral Raditz character and that Tarkin in the same movie.
I know.
It's so bizarre.
Because Raditz looked incredible.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like let's CGI the human character and make the big fish man just a puppet.
Yeah.
What is happening right now?
All right, number 5. M. Night Shyamalan announces Unbreakable split sequel.
Awesome.
Called
Yeah, I think we're all hoping this was coming.
Called Glass.
Cold Glass, yes.
Glass. Yeah, awesome. We all enjoyed Split, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought Split was a really cool... I wasn't as wrapped about the whole connection at the end as everyone else was.
Had you seen Unbreakable?
No, I hadn't.
Right, so that explains it. I
Yeah, there's a very clear reason why.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be snide. That just makes a lot of sense. If you haven't seen it, it's not going to mean anything. Because I love Unbreakable. I think that's Shyamalan's best film. So when that twist came at the end, I almost stood up in the theater, and I was with about 20 other people, and they were just like, "What? I don't get it. What are you excited about?" I'm like, "All right, I'll tell you later."
So yeah, they'll have the original cast back. So it'll be Bruce Willis, Sam Jackson, Anya Taylor-Joy,
And James McAvoy.
So yeah, will James McAvoy be in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's a combined sequel thing. Damn.
He played like 23 out of the 24 roles in Split, so yeah, he's coming back.
I think it was nice to see Shyamalan get things back on track with Split. He's had a fair few duds along the way.
It was tough, man. We had to have that intermission for him and say, "Look, mate, it's just not working."
It's
right
sitting
now.
down. M Night, come on,
He's
man.
like-
no more Last Airbenders. Let's move on.
I feel like with M Night, you can see like you can see kind of
An arc.
an arc, yeah. Like it's not like just suddenly he made a shit film and then he's bouncing back from that. You can there's a steady decline
And now a steady rise up.
and then a steady rise up.
With,
So he might just end his career on like this massive high. Like as soon as he gets to a peak,
yeah.
he's like, all right, I gotta stop because I know what's happening after
Can't do this again.
Yeah.
I don't think he will, man.
Oh, of course he won't. But
He did. What was the Visit? The Visit was his first sort of step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then Split, which happened earlier this year, it's kind of sealed the deal.
Yeah,
terms of his
I
return.
didn't mind After Earth.
That's his one movie I haven't seen, not including that first one.
You hated After Earth.
I didn't hate
I hate it,
okay.
and I haven't seen it.
Okay, I didn't hate it, but it was very close to hate. Strongly disliked, found very boring. Nothing really. Kept
Yeah,
me.
it certainly lacked kind of any real drive in that
It
film.
didn't have a hook. It didn't.
Yeah.
Sort of. Involve
But it certainly
you.
wasn't his worst work. I kind of cited that as he's starting to kind of bring it up a little
Going
bit.
from 5 to 7%.
Yeah, it's an improvement.
Anyway, it's great to see him finally able to bring his vision of kind of the Unbreakable sequel that he planned all those years ago to the big screen.
Yeah, and he announced this with a tweet.
Yeah.
What is the tweet? Like he went, Unbreakable and Split. Sequel coming.
So
I don't know where I'm going with this.
I'm so
in a
sad
tweet.
sometimes
Basically,
that
it was
George
really
has all the power to edit stuff out.
Yeah. He's just really upfront about it. He's like, yeah, my new film is a sequel to Unbreakable and Split. That
Done.
was it.
There we go.
So, oh, fuck. All right. Number 6. We've really got to pick this up, guys.
Pull it together, son. Pull it together.
All right. Number 6. David Fincher is close to signing on to direct World War Z 2. Again, this is another one I just didn't need a sequel to.
Because David Fincher is the name slapped on it. I am there.
Hell yeah. That's great. A David Fincher zombie movie
Oh,
with Brad Pitt. That's
Holy crap.
that is huge news. No one will ever remember there was a first one.
Yeah.
Like the chances of this being called World War Z 2 are 0.
yeah.
It'll be called David Fincher's zombie movie.
Starring Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
This is shocking. What has happened in the back rooms of whatever studio this is to make this come to fruition?
There's been murmurs of this for a long
I know,
time.
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say maybe like 18 months.
And everyone kind of said, no, that'll never
Yeah.
happen. But now apparently it's close. I'm still very skeptical because this is too crazy. But
Because Fincher's filmography, he's one of my favorite directors out there working
absolutely.
in the field.
How
right
could he
now.
not be? Anyone's.
Yeah. But he hasn't done an action blockbuster since Alien 3, I would say.
Yeah, we all know how well that went.
Yeah, and the the rest of his filmography is geared towards thrillers, and gems along the way like The Social Network. But he's got a very dark, interesting take on on presenting stories in the medium of film, and I would be so excited if this whole thing comes together because. Him doing World War Z 2, I have high hopes for that.
I'm always interested to see a director kind of bring their style to a type of film that they haven't done before. And I think that it either bodes really well. Like you have some films where that really works. You get a breath of fresh air. I hope we see that with things like Thor, Ragnarok. But I also feel like it's a bit of a danger. Just because, I mean, as you said, he has a very kind of clear... anthology or a very clear kind of style and type of film that he does. I wonder if that'll translate over well.
He is so well suited to this, though. I don't. Has he made a straight up horror film? I don't think so.
No.
But his movies are
Zodiac?
sometimes so.
Is that-
No, not at all.
Not even
But
a
sometimes, something like Seven is one of the scariest and most oppressive films I've ever seen, and that's like a cop drama.
Yeah.
So him making an actual horror movie with zombies, that would be amazing.
I would actually like to see him do a straight up horror film. Zombies, I don't really consider straight up horror.
They're kind of their own subgenre,
Yeah.
certainly.
But I would love to see him do something like Conjuring type film. I reckon that'd be sick.
That'd be too scary. That'd be unwatchable.
Yeah.
He's got more of a naturalistic kind of vibe. I couldn't see him do something supernatural like that. Zombies
Like
is a little more
zombies?
Well, zombies is a little more, I don't know.
What was the
relatable
explanation
somehow.
for the zombie virus in this movie's?
In World War Z?
In World War Z, yeah.
Well, I fell asleep
yeah.
during
I feel like it was
World War Z.
It was
1.
more. Was it people coming back from the dead, or was it more like 28 days later sort of thing?
I think it was more 28 days later.
Yeah.
Yeah, feels like it. There's a couple ways they could go with this sequel because a lot of people really love the book, which I haven't read. But apparently for the movie, they pretty much threw it entirely out.
Okay.
It was kind of an anthology kind of series of vignettes, I believe.
Yeah, it
going
was like
from story
short
to story.
stories
Yeah.
that kind of accumulated.
So
into
it could be
this.
interesting if they kind of actually adapt it for this one. Maybe
Well, does that mean that Brad's Pitt character won't be coming back then?
no, they could just kill him off in the first
Yeah.
one, and then
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, "This ain't what you expected, boys. Strap in." Or they could just go something completely original, I guess.
Yeah. Be interesting to see how that pans out, what the direction he goes with it. But as I said, I'd really like to see him do a horror film.
I'm pumped.
Yeah. All right, number 7, He-Man movie coming out in 2019.
Awesome. What's number 8?
That's exactly what I was about to say. That is such a nothing story.
He-Man.
He-Man, who's
There's been one He-Man film before, which
Masters
was
of the Universe.
the Dolph Lundgren one.
Yeah.
And I was doing a little bit of research on that film, and everything completely bombed.
Yeah.
And they actually pulled, I think it was He-Man merchandising, so toys and stuff. They stopped making them the year after.
Wow.
So
He literally killed an entire
killed, yeah.
franchise.
He-Man was a big sort of early to mid 80s, and then by the end, once it hit the 90s, He-Man was out the window. So I think it's we're primed for a He-Man film. Bring it on. Let's do some Skeletor. Let's do it.
This cannot be
Let's
done.
do this.
I mean,
It's
they're
got to
gonna
be
have to go down
ridiculous. It's got to
cheesy
be.
lane.
It has to be cheesy as it can't be.
A serious, gritty film.
It can.
Okay,
if
so-
they do a serious gritty
Oh,
one,
you know they will.
like even Thor, I think is going too serious. I think
There's-
it's got to be more wacky.
Yeah, totally. There's 3 options here. They could do Jump Street version,
Okay, so self-referential.
full-on comedy.
Yeah.
Yep. Meta. They could do an animated one, which I think could potentially work.
Yep.
Or they could do like a Power Rangers sort of jarring, crappy one.
Well, you love Power Rangers.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, but it's not a good film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those are their options. They could do like a gritty.
Connor's face right now.
Yeah, he looks really ill.
It's just like, shit.
Connor, no, don't die.
What? No, I'm just mildly shocked that it's taking you this long to admit that was a bad film.
This is an admission. I enjoyed it thoroughly. That's like a 4-star
Yeah.
movie for me in
But
terms
I've
of how
never
much.
heard you actually admit that was not a good film.
I think we said very clearly in the review it doesn't fit together at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't need to get back into it. It's all there on tape or whatever you record this stuff on, George.
We really like.
I'm not the audio guy, right?
It's practical effects. We've even gone back to tape.
We're retro here, man. We listen to this on our Walkman.
Yeah. This is for me. This means next to nothing. It's just another franchise for them to fuck up.
Them, the collective, like studio world.
Studio
Yep.
world.
Another one.
I feel like that's so wanky for to be like, oh man, studios. They're just like they bring us down. Studios do good things. They produce good movies, but
they don't.
Only Marvel. Just Marvel.
You talk about Marvel so much about how good that studio is.
Yeah, but Marvel uses an atypical
Yeah.
scenario.
And I think like Netflix has been killing it.
Yeah, nice segue.
Yeah, awesome.
Speaking of number 8, Netflix is open to simultaneous theatrical releases for its original films.
What was that? Simultaneous?
Simultaneous?
The
new film.
monkey versions of new films, simultaneous films.
This is an interesting way that it's going.
So they're already killing cinemas. Now they're trying to take them back over.
Taking back over, yeah.
That's great.
It's a very
aggressive business tactic.
Very cheap.
Strangle someone's entire kind of business
And save
model.
them,
And
be
then,
like, I got you, bud.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Just get my little pouch here.
Because they've done this before. They did that Kerry Fukunaga film, Beast of No Nation. That got a limited theatrical release.
Everyone boycotted that, didn't they? Because it got a simultaneous release.
Okay, so there was actually pushback.
I don't know if everyone boycotted. I know AMC Cinemas did in the States, which is
Okay.
huge. That's the big cinema network.
Of course.
Did you see Beast of No Nation?
No, I did not. I did not have 4 hours to spare.
I recommend watching it.
Yeah, apparently it's awesome.
A very, very good film. It's
Love Idris.
just absolutely heart wrenching.
Well,
it's a hard film to watch. But I mean the movies that kind of deal with that subject matter always are.
So Netflix taking over the world. Cool.
Interesting to see. This is another sort of move similar to what Amazon did with Manchester by the Sea. They did really well with that film. That production won Oscars for Best Actor and Best Original Screenplay. So, these other entities coming in, Amazon is a box mover. It sells products, and now they've got a streaming service and they create original content. They've got a film that's won Oscars. Like, we're living in a really interesting time. I think the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see these different ways films are going to be produced and come together, and give the directors and other creatives involved more of an opportunity to do what they want to do.
Hopefully, it's a bit of a Wild West at the moment. Because how's this going to work? Are you going to go into the cinema and log into your Netflix account and watch the movie? Like, presumably you're going to be paying for it. So how many people are actually going to go home or leave home and be like, I'm not going to watch this on my TV here, which I can right now. I'm just going to head to the cinema and pay $20 for it.
We discussed this earlier about cinemas really are going to have to become an experience. And I mean, they already are. Most people go to theaters because, it's a cool thing to do. There's certainly some films that are worth watching in the theater. I think Mad Max is still one of the pinnacle of those kinds of films where if anyone has a chance to see it in a film, like if it comes back for a limited release, I highly suggest it. But I really think that cinemas are going to have to kind of capitalize on that experience and service style product. And I think that this might be what that's about then. So they'll be able to provide that. It'll be interesting to see because they have both options to either stream it at home or go to the theater. With Manchester at the Sea, that was just a theater release. I don't think there was a concurrent streaming availability.
Did a tiered release.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting if they do like both at the same time.
I think that's the best way to do it.
The tiered one?
I think so.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But then Netflix is kind of devaluing itself.
Exactly.
By saying our original content is now not available to you.
From a branding perspective.
Yeah.
So the model is going to take time to sort out. We're going through a teething stage or a transitional phase, and it's going to take time. Like the music industry's only really, I feel, has just got to get a bit of a model going for how to release music on the streaming platforms, and it's going to take time, but hey, interesting stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the top 8.
That's the top 8 we did. We don't even have any honorable mentions this week.
Wow. What a week it's been. I've got one. Logan being released in black and white on the big screen.
I was going to say that one.
Oh, that's right. I mean, I never saw Mad Max, speaking of,
the black and white
in
one,
black and white.
I think that one's so vibrant. I think the black and white.
The color in that was so spectacular, though.
Yeah.
I completely agree. But I did go to see it in black and white, and it was stunning.
Yeah.
Like, just that film you just can't ruin.
Oh, yeah.
Just like in a cinema. But in black and white, it looked so beautiful as well. Like, it's amazing that film can just exist so amazingly in both formats.
Yeah. With Logan, it's interesting. It feels a bit gimmicky.
I think this one could potentially work better than Mad Max.
I think it'll be great. Like, so much of the promotional material for this film was released in black and white. Like, James Mangold had all that series of photos, the portraits he released.
Yes.
And then there was like almost a little short film he released with Hugh Jackman driving around in the limo in this little black and white thing. I think this movie will work like gangbusters in black and white for anyone who's actually interested in watching that format. Yeah. A lot of people are turned off very quickly just by the mention of it. But it has its devotees.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't happen much anymore. So for them, I think
But I
it's
think
cool.
again, largely, I still find that it's gimmicky, which is I think it's good that it doesn't happen.
I don't think it's a
it would be-
gimmick though. There's no money in releasing something in black and white. Like it's. I think it's just for the people who want to see it this way. I think this is the version that James Mangold wants to see. This seems like a passion project more than a gimmick to me.
The studios wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't money in it. It's not like, oh, I happen to want to release it in black and white, and he's not funding it or anything. It's the studio's doing it.
Yeah, but I'm sure he
So
talked them
it's
into
definitely not just this like passion project. It might be for him, but it for me it doesn't happen unless there's money in it.
I think it's a branding exercise in a lot of ways. I don't necessarily know if the returns are there, but in terms of keeping Logan in the conversation and stretching that film out in a really interesting way, like not that Avatar. There's an extra 9 minutes, director's cut bullshit. This is like a nice, creative way to present the film that a lot of people loved. And to re-experience it in that manner, I don't think it's going to go gangbusters. I don't think it's going to be a lot of dough in it. But yeah, so I agree with both you guys. I'm in the middle.
Very amicable in the middle.
Pick someone. No, I completely agree. I think that's why the studio's doing it. Is the same reason as that Avatar crap. But I think the reason it's happening is because James Mangold wants to do it.
Yeah,
like wants to see this version of it. Same reason George Miller did it.
Any other news, guys?
Nope.
I think that's it.
Any big stories? Zemeckis isn't doing The Flash. There was
there was rumblings of that.
A lot of press this week that Robert Zemeckis was going to be helming the DCEU standalone film for The Flash.
How do they not have a director for that film? It is insane.
They don't have a script, bro.
I know. It's had like 3 rewrites. And 4 directors. It's
good luck to them.
Insanity. I'm so glad we almost missed out on bashing DC this week. Thank fuck.
Yeah, not a single mention, but we slid it in there in the back.
Yeah.
And there was a Wonder Woman teaser with Ares.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I think that's it for top 8 of this week. What a week it's been.
Whoa,
how exciting.
crazy week.
We will have our review of Get Out up on Tuesday, which is a really cool horror thriller flick that came 6 months late to Australia.
Yeah.
And we finally saw it. Yeah. And we'll also have our Alien vs. Predator retro review up on Thursday.
We went with retro review. I like it. Fuck you, Ben.
Damn it, George. Throw me under the bus.
Oh, I'll re-record it as well.
No.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. The TPSB crew, Connor
Bye.
and Benny. TPSB. Catch you later, guys.